Hello there, and welcome back. Are you ready for some more reading? Because I've got a book, and with me again tonight are my therapy buddies. So, without further ado, shall we begin? Parent-child transactions. Another type of complementary transaction is the one between parent and child. The husband, child, is sick, has a fever, and wants attention. The wife, parent, knows how ill he feels and is waiting to mother him. Willing to mother him. This can go in a satisfactory way indefinitely as long as the wife is willing to be mothering. Some marriages are of this nature. If a husband wants to play little boy and his wife is willing to be parental, take the responsibility for everything and look after him, this can be a satisfying marriage, as long as neither wishes to change roles. If one or the other tires of the arrangement, the parallel relationship is disturbed and trouble begins. Now, before we carry on, and I'll give my 2 cents to this, I'm going to show you the diagrams. Look, there is figure 11, figure 12. See, parent-child. And there is the next figure. Parent-child, well, it's the same thing, really, but you get the idea. Now, obviously, this book was written in the 60s, so it's going to talk about a woman mothering her husband. Although you could argue that there are many men nowadays that end up in this situation too. I mean, one of my exes might say that they done the same for me. We disagree, but that's what they say. Not that it really matters, of course. But the point is, relationships are built on compromise and agreements. If neither, while I'm not going to judge any marriage as such, because I've never been married, so I can't really say, and I've never really... What was I say? Well, I've never been married, let's put it that way. And I'm not going to judge any marriage. All I'll say is now is that if two people agree to take on a role, the moment it's not guaranteed that the marriage will last. Because eventually, the wife who is always mothering her husband may one day grow tired of it. And just wish for roles to be reversed one day. And the same goes for the husband. He may be happy for his wife to make every decision and do everything, but one day he might just say, you know what? No. I want to take charge for once. And then, as the book suggests, you will have trouble. Cut this bit, please, Jim. In figure 13, as you saw earlier, let me fix this. That's better. In figure 30, we diagram a complementary transaction between George F. Babbitt, who is the parent, and Mrs. Babbitt, the child. Babbitt, looking at his newspaper, lots of news. Terrible news. Terrible big tornado in the south. Hard luck, alright. But this is corking. Beginning of the end for those fellows. New York Assembly's passed some bills that ought to completely outlaw the socialists. And there's an elevator runners strike in New York, and a lot of college boys are taking their places. That's the stuff. And a mass meeting in Birmingham's demanded that this McAgitator, this fellow De Valera, be deported. Dead right, by golly. All these agitators paid with German gold anyway. And we got no business interfering with the Irish or any other foreign government. Keep our hands strictly off. And there's another well-authenticated rumour from Russia that Lenin is dead. That's fine. John me, Rory, don't just step in there and kick those Bolshevik cusses out. Mrs. Babbitt, is that so? Now, that to me, I'm not going to get into his opinions, but he's obviously got opinions, as everyone does. And him, like a lot of people, like to talk about their opinions, and they say, this thing's happening. We should do this. Or they say, finally, we get rid of those damn people we don't like. And of course, Mrs. Babbitt, who in this case is a child, either doesn't know much about pies or just doesn't care. So she just says, "Is that so?" You should take an interest in the world around you. Form your own. Have a look at things, Read up on things. And form your own opinions. But don't go too far deep though, because it can be very stressful. Come to think of it, knowing half the stuff that goes on in the world is probably why my blood pressure is high. On with the book. Child-adult transactions. Another type of complementary transaction is one between child and adult. A person in the grip of not okay feelings may reach out to another person for realistic reassurances. A husband may fear an upcoming business encounter, which a promotion depends on, even though he is qualified in every respect. He is an overload of child data coming into his computer. "I'm not going to make it," so he says to his wife. "I'm not going to make it," hoping for her recount of the reality reasons why he can make it. If he does not let his child ruin his chances, he knows she is as a good adult and borrows it when his own is impaired. Her response is different from a parent response. She might be reassuring even if reality's data were not present, or which might simply deny the child's feelings. "Of course you'll make it. Don't be stupid." Now I'm going to show you two more figures. We've got figure 14 and figure 15. So you have the child-adult relationship. See? It goes between the two. And of course this one, the adult-parent relationship. See? I think that's enough. Adult-parent transactions. Another type of complementary transaction is adult-parent, and is represented by a man who wants to quit smoking. He has adequate adult data as to why this is important to his health. Despite this, he asks his wife to play the parent, to destroy his cigarettes when she finds them, to react strongly if he lights one. This transaction has very good game possibilities. As soon as he turns responsibility over to his wife's parent, the husband can be a naughty little boy and play, "If it weren't for you, I could," or "Try and catch me." I've never been addicted to smoking. The only addiction I had is my soluble paracetamol addiction, which I spoke about in a previous video. I forget which one. If I do remember which video it was, I'll put a thumbnail in the screen, and if I remember, I'll put a link for it in the description, but chances are I won't. I'll probably forget. I say it's a lot, and I think when I edit I should put the link in the description when I upload it, but I never do. I always forget. Oh well. Anyway, before we go, I was going to say, for those who haven't seen the video, I'll make a quick. I was addicted to soluble paracetamols for a bit. Then I slowly stopped. Didn't have a parent to help me. All I had was my inner parent. But I'm not going to compare that addiction to anyone else's, of course, because we all handle things differently. And of course, one could argue since I got over it quite easily, almost, then it wasn't really much of an addiction in the first place. Not that it really matters, of course. Though, of course, there will always be people who have it worse than me and you. But you should never use that to invalidate your own experiences. Okay? Just remember that. Uncomplementary or crossed transactions. The kind of transaction that causes trouble is the crossed transaction. Burns' classical example is the transaction between husband and wife. A husband asks, "Dear, where are my cufflinks?" An adult stimulus seeking information. A complementary response by wife would be, "In your top left dresser drawer," or "I haven't seen them, but I help you look." However, if dear has had a rough day and has saved up a quantity of hurts and mads and she bellows, "Where you left them?" the result is a crossed transaction. The stimulus was adult, but the wife turned the response over to the parent. Sometimes people just need to talk and not take their anger out on their loved ones. At some point, though, in our lives, we probably will take out our anger, unjustly so, on someone we love, and live to regret it for the rest of our lives. Sad, really. All you can do is hope that your partner who did get the unfair treatment is forgiven. But they don't have to be, of course. Just as we don't either. This brings us to the second rule of communication transactional analysis. When stimulus and response cross on the PAC transactional diagram, communication stops. Husband and wife can't talk about cufflinks anymore. The first had to settle why he never puts anything away. Had her response been child, why do you always have to yell at me? The same impasse would have developed. These cross transactions can set off a whole series of noisy exchanges, which end up with a bang somewhere in the purple outer reaches of So's Your Old Man. Repetitious patterns of this type of exchange are what constitute games such as It's All You. If it weren't for you, I could. Uproar and Now I've got to you, SOB. Which will be further elaborated in Chapter 7. The origin of the non-adult responses is in the not okay position of the child. Person dominated by not okay reads in the comments that which is not there. Where did you get the steaks? What's wrong with them? I love your new hairdo. Never did like it long. I hear you're moving. You can't really afford it, but this neighbourhood is getting run down. Pass the potatoes, dear. And you call me fat. As one of my patients said, Hudson says I could read something into a cookbook. I have no idea what that means. I could read something into a cookbook. Now, there's a few transactions. Well, it's transactions. What am I doing tonight? Figures I want you to look at. So there's 2, and then we're going to have to finish the video because there's another very long bit coming up. It's mostly things, and we ain't got time for that tonight. So it's going to have to wait, I'm afraid. So I'm going to quickly show you figure 16 and figure 17. See, there's figure 16. See? Parent going down to child, and adult going to adult. And figure 17, you can see the same thing, or the opposite. Child going to parent, and adult going to adult. So, I hope you've learned something tonight. I think the main thing we can take off tonight is that you really should talk to those you love. And try not to be angry with them. Although at some point it's probably inevitable that we will at some point be unjustly angry at someone we love. Unfortunately, it can't be helped, I don't think, sometimes. All we can do is just try our best to be the best person we can. But you know what? I think we all got it in us to be good. Everyone does, I think. Anyway, I'm not too sure what exactly I'm trying to say here, but I know in my head, but it's not coming out, so I'm going to finish this here. Take care of yourself, everyone. I love you all, and bye.